Okay, we are live. Good evening, guys. Nagbabalik na naman ang inyong lingkod. Ay, actually, hindi. Kasi earlier, we went live or we did a live streaming on my personal Facebook page, si Mentor Myron Sta. And now, we're doing this live stream on my company's Facebook page, which is MSS Business Solutions. All right? Actually, sa mga hindi followers ng aking personal page, this is actually a two-part Independence Day special, no? Doon sa personal Facebook page ko, meron po akong online talk show called Kwentawanan kung saan may guest tayo earlier today. Actually, it was from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And now, for the second part of our Independence Day special, we are offering naman this webinar. This is free and this is live on facebook.com/MSS Biz Solutions. MSS Business Solutions po is the mother company of Thought Leaders Philippines, Speakers, Trainers, and Consultants Bureau. We are a human resources training and consultancy services company. At yung pong dalawa po sa ating guests mamaya-maya, papakilala ko po sila sa inyo, ay mga partner or member trainers, speakers, and consultants ng Thought Leaders Philippines. And of course, ako lang po ang host, no? This is not about me. The limelight is not on me. The limelight is on our guests for today. Dalawa po ang guests natin, ha? Primary speaker po natin will be joining us in a bit. So I'm excited to introduce him. And then by 9:30, meron po tayong special guest and you'll know more about him by that time. Okay? So before we proceed, gusto ko lang i-acknowledge muna yung mga nandito na at talaga namang inaabangan itong ating free webinar. Okay? So let's start with, eto, pakita natin to. Yan. I don't know what your name is, ma'am, because Chinese characters, pero sabi niya, magandang gabi po. Okay? I do not read Chinese characters. And then, kasama din natin ngayong gabi, si Miss Joanne Kabangil. Ang sabi niya, good evening. And then, sino pa ba? Nandito rin si Miss Editha Kayomok Somobay. Good evening po. And then, ayan ha, na-acknowledge natin lahat bago natin ipakilala ang ating guest resource person, Miss Bernadette Miguel. Good evening po. Si Miss Marie Chu de Asis de Rosas watching from Caloocan City. And then, Mr. Alberto Española Jr. Good evening. Good evening din po sa inyo. Mr. Denz Sabroso watching from Davao City. O, kita nyo naman, pati ang Mindanao ay ating naaabot. We also have Galvez Comendador Rico. Good evening po. And then, we have Dableo Azenith or maybe Azenith Dableo. Baka ito'y baliktad. Hello po. Good evening. And then, sino pa ba nandito? Ay, nako, no, tayo po'y pinapalad kasi napakarami. Oh. Right now, there are 56 people, right? Unique, distinct people watching us from all over the country. Okay, so dumadami na po. As much as we would like to acknowledge and show on our live stream yung mga nagigreet one after the other, baka maubos po ang ating oras. Once again, kayo po ay nanonood sa part 2 ng Independence Day special na handog sa inyo ng aking pong kumpanya kung saan ako po ang founder and Chief EnterTRAINment Officer, si MSS Business Solutions, katuwang ang Speakers, Trainers, and Consultants Bureau arm nito na si Thought Leaders Philippines. Okay, so simulan na natin kasi talagang napakaganda nung ating topic para sa gabing ito. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that most, if not all, of those who anticipated this event are in the academe, no? Mga teachers. Kumbaga, nagkakatalo na lang yan kung elementary, high school, or college teachers. So maraming salamat po and good job sa MSS Business Solutions team sa pagmamarket or pagpapromote nito ng maayos. Kung hindi dahil po sa inyong suporta, syempre kung walang nanonood, sayang naman yung pinaghandaan ng ating guest resource person. Muli, kayo po ay nakikinig kay Mentor Myron Sta, the corporate entertainer and the founder and CEO of MSS Business Solutions. Okay, without further ado, by the way, once again, ulitin ko lang kasi maraming mga nag-join right now. Ito po ay nagaganap sa Facebook page ni MSS Business Solutions sa facebook.com/MSS BizSol. Alright? Biz Solutions. Okay, yung business, ginawa lang natin BIZ. But of course, ang kailangan nyo lang pong gawin, no, meron namang share option dito sa pinaka-live stream niya mismo. So just click that share and then share this. Maraming pamamaraan para i-share. Share on your own timeline. Share on your Facebook friends timeline. Share in your messenger or share in the groups that you're a member of. Okay? You may also start a watch party, and by doing so, we will be able to reach out to a lot more people who can benefit from, of course, the wisdom that our two guest resource people will share with us for tonight. And ako po ay hoping that you've had a wonderful day, and whatever your personal definition of kalayaan, all right, or Independence Day sana na-enjoy po natin at tayo po yung nagbigay pugay sa ating mga bayani na naging contributory or instrumental para malasap po natin ang any form of kalayaan or freedom na na-enjoy natin ngayon. Okay? So simulan na po natin ito kasi very excited na po ang inyong lingkod. Ipapakilala ko na ang ating guest resource person. Okay, na syempre makakakwentuhan muna natin siya. Okay, our guest resource person is a motivational speaker. He is a licensed teacher and he's a corporate communications practitioner. He's the radio host of the Voice of the Teachers program or radio show. And of course, we're gonna have him share kung saang frequency ito makikita. And of course, maganda sa taong ito, multi-talented siya kasi bukod sa pagiging speaker, teacher, trainer, at practitioner siya po ay isa ring independent or indie for short character actor. He's the training manager of JFE Teacher Training Services and JFER Training and Development Services. Okay, so without further ado, allow me to introduce to you with honor and pleasure our guest resource person for tonight that will cap off our two-part Independence Day special, Mr. Jet Ramos. Magandang gabi, Coach Jet.
Good evening. Uy, good evening, Coach Myron.
How's your day been so far, sir?
Mga nanonood ngayon. Kumusta ka na?
Alright. Oh, actually, Coach Jet, no? Napakadami na. Kanina, di ba, ginigreet ko yung mga nagko-comment. Sa sobrang dami, talagang sulpot na sulpot. Hindi ko na maipakita lahat eh. Pero once you take over or turn over ko sa iyo mula dito, Coach Jet, ipapakita natin lahat para at least malaman makita nila yung profile pic nila, no? Alright. So, let me also share yung kanyang PowerPoint. There you go. So, Coach Jet, pag-usapan natin before you begin with your nice presentation. You know, you haven't started yet, but I can already tell this early that this is gonna be very wisdom-filled. Bakit napili natin? And on Independence Day, educating our learners on acceptance and respect for diversity. Why did you choose this topic over other equally important topics, Coach Jet?
Nako, why did I choose it? First, I was inspired by George Floyd. What happened to him? As you all know, he died. He died because he was manhandled, and the officers involved have been charged. And second, I was a product of a very small school. Integrated kaming lahat, pati yung mga people with special needs. Doon ako nag-graduate. I'm proud to be a Viennean, at ako ay proud na sabihin na they're still my friends, yung mga kaklase ko. At nagkikita-kita kami. Kanina nga lang, habang ginagawa ko itong presentation, nagtatalakan kami dun sa Zoom. Kaya masayang-masaya talaga. At pangatlo naman, Independence Day, because ang ating bansa ay diverse. At kailangang ma-emphasize natin that diversity is nothing, it's nothing bad. It is something good. Because
Correct.
if we're all similar, then would there be something interesting? Of course not.
This topic over other.
That's why napili ko ito at sana'y maibigan ninyo.
Absolutely, Coach Jet. I'm pretty sure na magugustuhan at maraming matututunan mula sa inyong presentation yung mga watchers natin. So one after another, Coach Jet, pinapakita natin yung mga nagko-comment, ano? Napakadami right now, Coach Jet. I need you to revel in this, no? Meron tayong 103 na nanonood. Wow, ang dami ng sumuporta sa inyo.
Ang dami nga, interested eh. Saka malay mo, dumami pa. Yun, si Miss Anjovic, hello. Good evening sa'yo.
All right.
And
Guys, kami ni Coach Jet,
tama.
tuwan-tuwa na kami kasi 104 people ang simultaneously nanonood nito. Pero syempre, kung meron pa tayong madami pang kaibigan na aabot ng itong free webinar na ito, mas maganda. So please do us a favor. You have the link for this live stream. Go ahead and share this with your friends, with your coworkers, with your fellow teachers, all of your friends in the academy, even your loved ones, relatives. And let's enjoy having fun and watching a lot from Coach Jet Ramos. So, Coach Jet,
Yun,
take it
absolutely.
away from here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so para masaya, babatiin ko muna kayo ng good evening at kumusta na ba kayo lahat, mga teachers at lahat ng mga nanonood. This topic of mine is really very close to my heart, and if I were to teach this again, I would do it even 300 times, even 700 times. Hindi ako magsasawa pa rin mag-share. Bakit? Dahil ang acceptance and respect for diversity ay napakahalaga sa ating mundo. And this is one thing, this is one thing that we all miss though, because we teachers do not bother to take a look at the differences of our students. We just take a look at their negativities, their deficiencies. That's why we forget that they are diverse people and they learn in dissimilar ways. Okay, what may work for one may not work for the other. Therefore, we have to educate our learners on acceptance and respect for diversity. So, what is happening in our world today? As you all know, discrimination, prejudice, they happen today. They have happened since time immemorial, and there have been many instances in which there have been victims of discrimination and prejudice. But before we go into detail, ano ba ang pagkakaiba ng prejudice at discrimination? Prejudice is the act of having preconceived notions about somebody based on what we hear and what we know, but not totally based on what we see. Because when the naked eye sees what is actually happening and then the mind investigates, then there's no prejudice. But if we listen to gossip, to hearsay, then we develop prejudices. For example, people who are overage cannot learn uh, new new concepts anymore. That's not true. Why? Because it all depends on the person, and for as long as somebody's alive, then the the brain of a person is plastic. It's flexible, and for as long as the person has a good attitude towards learning, then there's no problem with that. Ano ba ang discrimination? Discrimination is the act of setting aside other people, segregating them like trash, and not regarding them as individuals, as part of the group. We don't acknowledge their existence. That is why there's discrimination. And ayun, anong mga nangyayari ngayon? First is racial prejudice and discrimination, like what happened to George Floyd and all the others before him. I'm not talking just about the blacks, or rather the African Americans, but I'm also talking about the Asians and the non-whites. They're prone to discrimination. Why? Because they've been considered minorities in every developed society, such as those in Europe and in the Americas. Although there is a law against discrimination, there have been instances in which people have been segregated, have been blacklisted. They have been accused of crimes just because they have a different race. For example, ang mga black ay mas mabibigat ang sentensya kaysa sa mga puti. At mayroon ding mga tao, halimbawa mga Asians, they're called, they are stereotyped as this and that, even the African Americans and even the whites. That's why we have the WASP, or White Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Yun ang namamayapag sa America. Although sa America, even South Africa and other societies na may mga puti, hindi sila talaga ang mga nakatira roon. Hindi sila mga Taal na taga roon, pati sa Australia. Because Aborigines are the original people there. Yung mga puti, galing lang yan sa mga penal colony ng Australia. Galing kasi sila sa Britain kasi masyadong maliit yung bansang yon para lahat ng mga preso doon ilagay. E nung lumaya na yung mga presong yon ay doon na sila nanuluyan. Ayun. At ang racial discrimination ay nangyayari sa iba't ibang mga pamamaraan. I-discuss ko mamaya in the context of education. Second, we have class-based discrimination. For example, in India, hindi ko lang alam kung nakameta pa rin ito, the caste system. Okay, there is yung mga Brahmins, yung mga mayayaman, mga maharlika, at mayroon din yung mga outcasts o yung mga pariahs. They're the ones who do the dirty jobs for the Indians, like handling carcasses of animals, even cows. They're the ones that are considered outcasts because they've done something wrong or they've been cursed. That's the problem with classism. And in developed countries, okay, and in developing countries, there is a very wide gap between the rich and the poor. Even in education, there's a wide gap. Kung ikaw ay nag-aaral sa isang private university, sasabihin nila magaling ka doon at ikaw ay may chance na matanggap sa trabaho. Kung galing ka sa public, ang problema naman doon, sinasabi nila sa iyo na hindi ka katanggap-tanggap, na low. Kaya low ang iyong inabot, low ang standards. Pero hindi naman totoo yun. It all depends on the management of the administration. Pangatlo, discrimination against people with disabilities. We include mental health disabilities, physical disabilities, and other kinds of disabilities and illnesses. And the reason why people are discriminated, those people with disabilities, is that they happen to be different. They happen to have extra needs. And sometimes we don't understand why. Okay, we don't understand them. We don't understand their predicament, their situation. That is why marami pa ring tao na hindi marunong gumalang sa mga people with disabilities. And alalahanin natin that people with disabilities are no different. They just happen to have extra special needs, and they have a condition that hinders them from doing other things, but they can do many other things that we mainstream people can do. Pang-apat, lagana pa rin to, even in Asian societies, gender-based discrimination. It's not just about the biological sex, the male and the female. It's also about your gender, your identity. Example, you're gay, you're lesbian, you're bisexual, you're transgender, you're queer. You tend to be discriminated because you're different. It's not because you cannot deliver when it comes to your tasks. It's just because you're different. And many other people are blinded by that, especially managers and executives. Fifth is discrimination against past offenders. Hindi nangangahulugan na kapag ikaw ay nakagawa ng pagkakamali, na tumira ka sa juvenile facility or napreso ka, wala kang pag-asang magbago. Meron. But the problem is that even in developed countries, there is still a huge stigma against past offenders. And they're considered nuisances. They're considered pariahs outside because they've done something wrong. Ang problema lang sa atin, we don't hear their story. We just forget to understand them. We forget to know what their story really is, the reasons behind their behavior. Ayun, hate speech, offline and online. Okay, yung mga ginagamit nating mga terms, yung mga inchik, yung mga bumbay, yung mga baliw, baboy, tapos yung mataba, yun yung mga hate speech. Kahit, ayun, yung mga LOL, yung mga idiots, yung mga offensive terms, yun yung madalas na nakaka-discriminate. Kaya yun ang nagiging problema, lalo na sa ating mga kabataan. Yan. Religious discrimination, whether we admit it or not, this still happens, especially in Muslim countries like in Saudi Arabia. If you openly practice your religion, then you could be thrown into jail. Or even in liberal societies like the United States of America, if you're not Protestant, you're not Christian, then you're not respected. And in the olden times, yung mga Jewish, hindi sila ginagalang, in-exclude sila, lalo na nung World War II. Ayun, prevalence of double standards. An example of a double standard is kapag ikaw ay lalaki at nangaliwa ka, marami kang kasintahan, macho ka, pero kung ang babae ay maraming kasintahan, siya ay pakawala. Or halimbawa, sa media, sa mass media, if you are white, then if you commit a mistake, then you're seen as someone who's human. But if you're not white, then they see you as less of a person. Ang halimbawa nito ay si Kate Middleton nung at si Meghan Markle. Sa Britain, ang nangyari kay Meghan Markle, noon na siya ng Wimbledon, ang tingin ng mga media sa kanya ay matakaw sa publicity. Pero yung kay Kate Middleton ay siya ay gumagawa lang ng kanyang royal duty. At nung si Kate Middleton ay bumabati sa mga tao, ang tingin sa kanya ay ayun, exclusion from opportunities and groups. Ito ang tinatawag na ostracism, yung hindi ka kabilang sa isang grupo, hindi ka tanggap, and it really hurts, it really pains us if this happens to us, and even to others. Hate crimes, alam na natin ang hate crimes, yung mga assault, murder, homicide, at iba pa. And even cyber crimes, yung panlalait natin sa iba't ibang races. Actually, mayroong batas na nagbawal na kaitin natin ang mga tao based on race. Age-related discrimination, this happens. Kahit sa trabaho, kapag hindi ka, pag overage ka, hindi ka tanggap. Pag ikaw ay mas matanda, mas marami kang knowledge, hindi ka pa rin tinatanggap dahil ang tingin sa'yo, maaaring magkaroon ka ng sakit. Pero kapag mas bata ka pa, tanggap ka. Workplace discrimination, last thing. Okay, this happens not just due to gender, but also due to experience, intelligence, ethnicity, educational attainment, and other factors. Kaya ito ang nagiging problema natin. Kung ang eskwelahan ay nag-discriminate, ang tendency nun, ganun din ang workplace. At kung ikaw ay racist sa school mo noon, kahit sa pagtatrabaho mo, naging racist ka rin. Kaya pumunta po tayo deep into what is happening in the context and realm of education. Diversity in education. This is one hot topic that we all have to embrace, to discuss, to accept, and to reflect on. Yun. So, ito ang mga halimbawa ng covert and overt discrimination. Ang ibig sabihin ng covert or covert ay nakakublit. It's not seen, it's not palpable. But if it's overt, it's something that you see, it's something obvious. For example, an example of discrimination is subjecting mixed race students to ridicule. This happens especially in international schools. Example, sa Saudi, meron akong kakilala noon na Pilipino. Hindi siya tanggap ng kanyang mga kaklase kasi dahil hindi siya ethnic Saudi. Half Filipino lang siya, half Saudi. And Ito rin, si Meghan Markle, she was ridiculed because she's half black and half white. And her teacher even told her when she was in the seventh grade to tick the box that says Caucasian. Kasi wala pa nun yung mga biracial na yan, yung mga multiracial. Kaya, nung mga panahong yun, medyo understandable pa. A second example is refusing to admit students based on their records. It could be due to their low grades, it could be due to their offensive behavior, discipline-related problems, and even yung mga juvenile delinquent. Ang problema, hinahadlangan sila just because of their past. Kung hindi natin pagbibigyan ng mga bata na mag-enroll dahil pinakikita nila na may abilidad sila despite their bad records, tayo ay nagko-commit ng discrimination. A third example is refusing to admit students who are not of a particular religion. Example, in Catholic schools, I don't know if it still happens today in many schools, but there are some schools that do not admit non-Catholics. I'm talking about Catholic schools, and they do not admit non-Catholic students simply because they're different. Meron ding mga school na tumatanggap ng non-Catholics, although they're required to take courses or subjects about Catholicism. Yun ang pinalabas nila na prerequisite para ikaw ay graduate, mag-complete mo yung iyong program. A fourth is body shaming. What is body shaming? It is simply the act of ridiculing a person based on how he or she looks like. It could be thin shaming, like you say, hey, you are too thin, you're anorexic, you've got to eat some more. Although they mean well, offensive pa rin yun. Or, the more prevalent one, fat shaming. Fat shaming, we all know that, and when we talk about the person's appearance, we say that you should not eat this, you should not eat that, just because one is big. Then we're committing body shaming, or even among teachers, like, hindi ka nakasya sa uniforme mo. Yes, or even our classmates, hindi ka nakasya, o di kaya, masyado kang mataba, you cannot play basketball or volleyball, or you cannot swim, you're like Flipper, you're like Flubber. Yun ang body shaming. Excuse me. And body shaming causes a lot of problems. Kung ikaw ay sinashame dahil mataba ka, what happens is that you tend to suffer from problems, from problems related to obesity and even your self-esteem and your psyche. Okay, the next one is discriminating students who are less proficient in English or even the native language. Example, you're not proficient in Filipino, you're bullied. You're accused of being an elitist. Or kung hindi ka marunong mag-English, you tend to be branded as someone who is incompetent, an idiot. Sorry for the term, but it happens. Nangyayari pa rin ito, kaya meron din tayong mga remediation program at maganda rin yon. However, we must not discriminate our students who are not that proficient in English by calling them outright about their grammatical problems. Maganda yung nagiging discreet tayo sa pag-correct sa tao. Because kapag kinorek natin sa harap na ibang tao, by discrimination yun, nanghihiya na tayo. Another incident is smart shaming, an instance of discrimination. Why? Because we talk about people who are smart in a very negative way. Why? Because we assume that that person is a know-it-all. That person doesn't know how to stoop to others' levels, and that person is a smart ass. Yeah, sorry for that word. Yeah, that person is too brainy. And it happens in the Philippines, like, oh no, marunong ka kasi, or alam na this, or aba, nagmamagaling ka, nagbibida ka
Or
pa.
masyado kang matalino, Coach Jet. No? Ganun.
Yes? Ayun. And meron din tayong, okay, ayun, meron din tayong LGBT discrimination for both students and teachers. Nangyayari ito because, nangyayari ito dahil hindi natin naintindihan kung ano ang iba't ibang mga gender. O kahit sa mga teachers, nangyayari ito. Pag sinabing bakla, immoral, pag sinabing lesbian, brusko. So that is a common problem. Kaya maraming nagpapakamatay at marami ring mga nagkakaproblema sa eskwelahan dahil doon. Yan. Coach Myron, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, thank you. Yan. Ano bang ibang examples? Yung pagsesegregate natin sa mga students na may special needs from the other students. Like, sinasantabi natin sila. Hindi sila pinakikita. Hindi natin sila pinakikilala. Pero ang segregation na tama ay nangyayari lang kapag mayroong mga special courses. Pero kapag sa interaction, wag nating i-segregate sila just because they're different.
By the way, Coach Jet, before you go any
yes?
further, sobrang dami ng nanonood ngayon. We have 116 people watching us right now. Maganda siguro, i-encourage na rin natin sila na kung meron silang mga gustong i-clarify or itanong that they may do so anytime. Okay? I'm pretty sure that Coach Jet will be happy enough to field all your questions.
Sure, no problem.
So far, Coach Jet, wala namang inquiries. Puro mga greetings pa lang, although may mga nag-second sa lahat ng mga sinabi mo. Like, etong may natanggap tayo dito, sabi niya, respect begets respect. Tama naman.
That's true. Ayun. Maraming ding bumabati sa atin. Sige, tuloy ka na ba?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, tuloy ko na. Isang example of discrimination is refusing admission to pregnant students or those who are mentally ill or physically ill just because iniisip natin na hindi nila kaya. Kung pregnant na, mga 7 months, mga 9 months, naku, mag-leave na yan. Pero kapag 1 month pregnant, 2 months pregnant, kailangan tanggapin pa rin. Like, noong mga unang panahon, kapag buntis ang isang estudyante, lalo pag high school, ay hindi pinapapasok. Ewan ko lang ngayon kung nangyayari pa rin yon. Pero sa college, definitely. Meron pa nga akong kaklase, buntis, pero pumapasok pa rin. So that goes to show that, okay, one's condition is not tantamount to what he or she can be in life. And isa pang example na discrimination is reinforcing sex-based roles in primary level textbooks and other books. Example, sino ang haligi ng tahanan? Ang tatay. Sino ang ilaw ng tahanan? Ang nanay. Or sino ang nagtatrabaho? Sinasabi, ang tatay. Pag may sumagot ang nanay, minamali. We have to accept that meron tayong mga estudyante na ang parents ay nagtatrabaho. And meron ding iba na single parents. Single parents ang kinalakihan nila. O halimbawa, isa walang tatay, isa walang nanay. So, kailangan yung mga textbook writers ay magmasid sa mga nangyayari ngayon. And they have to accept the fact that the world is changing every day.
Isa pa. According to what you said, Coach Jet, meron tuloy napa-comment dito si mukhang baliktad ambulance effect yung kanyang name, pero ano ba ito? Gracie Ryan.
Hello, Gracie.
Okay, we may not notice it, but we are actually practicing discrimination. Or sometimes
you're absolutely right.
And according naman kay Miss Priscilla Alepante, pakita natin, applicable to the golden rule. Ayan.
Yes, it happens to us. And we're guilty of it. Ang isang example ng discrimination ay standardized testing, halimbawa sa mga IELTS, sa mga TOEFL. Nakasukat lang yan halimbawa sa American context, sa British context. Halimbawa, yung pag-include ng items na miss, no. Yung mga nangyayari sa Amerika, sa Britain, na hindi nangyayari sa ibang bansa. Yun ang isang uri ng covert discrimination. Kaya kailangan ng mga standardized testing at kahit yung mga teacher-made test, lalo na, kailangan naka-adapt sa context ng mga estudyante. Mahirap man yun, pero magagawa natin. Another example is refusing to work with people who have a different mindset, like they do things differently. They do not think like us. Paano kung mas effective sila kaysa sa atin? Kahit yung mga estudyante natin. And we tend to discriminate against students who are more knowledgeable than us. And that is a shame. It is really painful to realize that. And meron ding ibang uri ng discrimination na hindi na natin itatalakay pa dahil mahirap nang mawala ng panahon. Okay, after the examples of discrimination, sino ang kadalasang mga biktima ng prejudice and discrimination? An example is out-of-school youth. We don't know kung bakit nag-drop out sila. Lagi nating ina-assume na tamad sila, napapabarkada. Pero yung pala, may iba, may financial problems, nagkasakit. Meron din na nag-migrate sa ibang lugar. Kaya, ang problema sa atin, we don't know their real story. The second victim is overage learners. Kapag halimbawa may mas matanda sa atin, higit, sinasabi natin, ay, si tanda na, mas matanda pa sa tatay ko, tanda pa sa nanay ko. Tapos, tayong mga teachers ay guilty. Tinitingnan natin yung tao. Sinasabi natin, ano ba naman to? Parang walang matututunan to. Kasi matanda na. Ay, hindi totoo yun. It all depends pa rin on the person.
Coach Jet, meron tayong unang question dito.
Sure.
It comes from Miss Azenith Dableo. Ang tanong niya, Sir, mali po ba halimbawa kung sasabihin natin ang kamalian niya sa harap ng iba para matuto siya?
It's absolutely wrong. Why? Because shaming doesn't really work. It's best to talk to someone in private, especially if that person is very sensitive. Kapag hinihiya natin ang isang tao, kapag hinihiya natin sa tao, then there would be nothing good that would happen. It would just result in more shame and more effrontery to commit the same offense. So maganda rin na we have to talk to that person with an open mind and an open heart. Alamin natin kung ano ang nangyayari sa kanya. Malay natin, kaya nakakaganon siya, meron pala siyang problema. Nagdi-discriminate tayo kung meron tayong assumptions tungkol dun sa tao.
Ayun.
Nasagot ko na ba?
Hopefully, just let us know, Azenith Dableo, kung nasagot ni Teacher Jet ang iyong katanungan. Meron pang isang tanong dito, coming naman kay Miss Connie Zuela. Ang question niya,
Hello,
is discriminating be considered bullying?
Yes, to some degree, yes. Because ang discrimination ay nakakadulot ng low self-esteem. Kahit sino, sa teachers, sa students, mas lalo na sa mga bata. Dahil ang discrimination, lalo na kung in-ostracize natin sa tao, nagre-resulta yan sa bullying. Tama.
There you go. And meron dito nagkaroon ng realization, no? Parang natamaan ng bahagya. Si Mr. Garcia Ryan Yanot, sabi niya, hey, I admit I am guilty of that sometimes. Okay lang yan, Sir Ryan. Basta mahalaga, we realize that we've come short of something, ano? And then we work.
Yeah, we all come clean.
That's right.
That's right. We all come clean. Ayun, sa mga former juvenile offenders, kasi may mga kakilala ako na taga-bahay Pag-asa pero nagbago na at naging productive na mga tao. Nagsuserve sila sa church namin, sa parish. Mababait sila. Kung kikilalanin mo sila, hindi talaga sila masama. They just happen to be trouble. That's why they got into some crimes. Pero wala namang malala. Mga robbery lang naman at kung ano pa. Hindi natin sasabihin ng pangalan. Nako, that is a form of discrimination and bullying. And ngayon, mas okay sila at sa katotoong tao sila. If we give them a chance to study, then masasabi natin we've done our part. Ayun, other victims.
Meron pang Nagtanong dito si Mr. Garcia Ryan Yanot uli, ang sabi niya, how should we handle people who are excluding others? Let's say a boss.
How should we handle yung nag-exclude?
Yeah, people who are excluding others, let's say a boss.
Okay, we have to talk to the person privately. We have to tell them what is exactly wrong with what they're doing and make them realize that what they're doing is hampering other people instead of helping them. And yung mga ganong klaseng tao na nag-exclude, mga insecure yung mga tao yan, maaring nakaranas din sila ng discrimination, kaya ganun sila. And kung hindi man masolusyonan yon, talk to the HR manager who will mediate. Oh, kahit
Okay.
sa schools.
Yes.
Hmm.
Ang sabi ni
Ayun,
Ms.
isa pang
Bel
big
Abalos Palakpak Peñaranda, let's create a friendly environment to the young. Hashtag no to
That's true.
bullying.
Yeah,
Tapos sabi
that's
ni
true.
Ms. Mary Ann Abanes, in my class, I have 3 special children included in my class. Teka. You need to be patient to them, or you need to make them that they are not different and lots of understanding. That's the key.
That's true.
And then may isa pang tanong, Teacher Jet, before you proceed, I hope it's okay. Sabi ni Den Sabroso, Sir, ano po ang punishment ng bullying, sir?
Bullying, it all depends on pag sa students, ano yan, depende sa severity yan. Kapag, ang kadalasan yan, verbal warning eh. Pangalawa, written warning. Pag pangatlo, kinakausap ang magulang. Pero pag naulit at naulit pa yan, lalo na kapag may nasaktan, kadalasan yan, suspension. Then, kapag talamak na, dismissal. Pero kapag talagang sinaktan mo sa tao, ako, suspended ka na kagad. Kailangan very punitive and firm ang punishment. Ang consequences na yan to ensure that no bullying incidents happen again. Kahit nga sa United States, meron pa nga tinatawag na bakla, ayun, nagpakamatay. Meron din yung binubuyo na makipag-away, ayun. Yun ang nagiging problema. Meron pa ba?
Yes, actually, follow-up comment lang kay Mr. Garcia. Sabi niya, the problem is we already addressed the concern to the higher-ups and yet nothing happened. I believe, Teacher Jet, na siguro maganda pag-usapan nyo in private, no, yung concern ni Mr. Garcia. Mr.
Sure.
Garcia, if you don't mind us recommending, I suggest that you PM si Teacher Jet Ramos para mapag-usapan nyo in detail itong concern mo regarding sa exclusion. There you go.
Sige.
And then,
Pag-usapan natin.
may comment lang si Miss Elizabeth Sebastian, habaan ng pasensya talaga ang kailangan ng teacher.
Yeah, but sometimes it's hard to exercise because we're all stressed, we're overworked. That is why we tend to forget that we have to be patient. Aminado din ako minsan, impatient. But at least I'm coming clean. Ayun, tuloy pa ba?
Isa na lang, Teacher Jet. Sir, paano po kung ang mismong teacher ang may pagkabuli at mahilig mag-name calling?
Nako, that's a grave offense. Kailangan isumbong yan sa superior at kakausapin niya. Pag hindi pa tumigil ang teacher, bibigyan ng sanction yan. At pag naulit pa at maraming nag-complain, out she or he goes.
Thank you so much, Teacher Jet. Go ahead, please.
Ayun, victims of early pregnancy, crimes against honor, and serious diseases. Yung mga may mental illness, mga physical illness, yun ang kadalasang nagiging biktima ng mga prejudice and discrimination. And students with special needs, they're very vulnerable. They are impressionable and gullible. That's why they tend to be picked on by students and teachers alike. Meron akong kwento. Sa New York, may isang child with autism dinala sa school. Pero yung mga teachers doon, nilalait siya, minamaltrato. Kaya ang ginawa ng parent one day, mother yon, she asked the child to bring a hidden camera, ni-record yung mga pinagagawa ng mga teacher at nabuking sila. So, the teachers were They were sacked, and as for the student, he was transferred to a better school kung saan ay maligayang maligaya siya at talagang inaalagaan at natututukan. Meron ding ibang mga, okay, mga nagtapos o yung mga nag-ALS or ALS, iniisip nila na drop out sila pero alamin natin ang kwento. Bakit sila nag-ALS? Gusto nilang matapos ang school. Kaya ni-discriminate yung mga nag-ALS kasi kadalasan yung mga nag-ALS ay yung mga out of school youth. Pero may mga dahilan yun. Kahit nga artista, nag-ALS for sure yan. Nag-homeschooling yan kasi busy ang schedule. Ayun, mga financially challenged students, yun ang kadalasang dinidiscriminate kasi hindi sila makabayad. LGBT students and teachers, sila ang madalas nabubully dahil ibang-iba sila. And that is absolutely wrong. That's why they have to be protected. They have to be respected. It's not about the sexuality. It's about respect and humanity. And of course, foreign students. Ang mga foreign students ay kadalasan nagiging victims ng prejudice and discrimination simply because they do not fit into our culture or any other culture. They're like a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. Kaya yun ang nagiging problema. Okay, bakit hindi ina-acknowledge ang diversity? Bakit nga ba? Okay. Hindi ina-acknowledge because we lack prior knowledge of one situation. That's why we have to learn how to investigate and to listen. We investigate to know, not to sow gossip. We investigate to understand, not to impose. And we investigate not to criticize, but to encourage and to help in solving the problem. Ang pangalawa rin, exposure to stereotypes propagated by media. Ayun, ang problema kasi sa media, they show the seamy, the ugly, the sleazy side of people who are different from us. They do not care to show the good side. That's why mas maraming stereotypes ang lumalaganap. Ang isang problema rin ay lack of knowledge of other cultures. That's why it's important that we research about other cultures. We focus on their language, their customs, their cuisine. Nako, pinaka-favorite ko yung cuisine. And their history. Why? In reading about a culture, especially its history, we then get to understand why they act in such a way that, they act like what we see, like what we commonly hear. Pero kung minsan nakakamali rin tayo sa assumption sa ibang culture. Ito pa, refusal to accept others' differences. We refuse simply because we don't get out of our comfort zone. We don't want to embrace people with open arms. And we do not care to be friends with them. That's a sad thing about education today. Refusal to listen to other stories. If we don't know how to listen, how could we expect to understand? How could we expect to become better listeners, to become more sympathetic and empathetic? Kapag sympathetic, you understand the person. But if you're empathetic, you not only understand but also commiserate with a person. You concur. You totally get what he or she is feeling. Preconceived notions, that's one culprit that leads to not acknowledging diversity. Halimbawa, ang preconceived notions sa mga Asians sa America, kahit saan, matalino sa math, good in business, good in numbers. Kapag whites, superior. Kapag African Americans, lazy. Or rather, instead of whites, Caucasians. Okay. Yun ang problema natin. We do not generalize people based on what we see. we have to see several instances before we get into concluding. Lack of familiarity in handling learners who are different, who have special needs. Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng problema sa pagtanggap sa diversity kasi wala tayong karanasan. Kaya importante na humingi tayo ng tulong sa ibang mga kasama natin. And we hope na na-realize natin ito. And lack of attention towards successful learners. Halimbawa, yung mga gifted. Hindi yung mga halimbawa, yung mga foreign students, yung mga people with special needs kapag nag-achieve, nagsa-sour grape tayo kuminsan kasi hindi tayo naniniwala sa kanila. So that is really painful. And we ought to admit that we sometimes look at them differently in a negative light. Kaya nahihirapan tayo na tanggapin na every opportunity is offered to all people. It's just a matter of accepting the opportunity and making yourself do what is best for you and doing your best to achieve what you have to achieve. Ano ba nangyayari kung hindi tayo marunong mag-practice ng acceptance and respect? Una, mas nagkakaroon ng dropout rates. Kahit saan yan, lalo sa high school yan, sa college. Simply because nabubuli yung mga estudyante. Yun, bullying. Yun ang nangyayari. Kahit sa teachers, meron ding bullying simply because halimbawa ang teacher mas mababa ang kanyang inabot, di siya nag-masters o di kaya napakataas na PhD, kaya yun ang problema. Another result is less motivation to study and graduate. Yun, related to the first reason. The fourth one is resentment. If we don't accept and respect diversity, then we have resentments. Yung taong hindi natin tinatanggap ay maghihina ng po sa atin at tayo rin hindi natin matututunan na tanggapin ang mga kaibahan ng tao. Hindi ko sinasabing kakulangan because we all have deficiencies. Ito pa, increased behavioral problems among students. Yan ang masakit. Stress, lalo na sa kaiisip, bakit hindi ako tinatanggap? Bakit ino-ostracize ako? Bakit din-discriminate ako? Meron din. Physical and mental health problems. And tayo ay nagkakaroon ng breakdown. Tayo psychosomatic illnesses, tayo nagkakaroon ng mga iba pang problema. Meron din disunity among students and teachers. Kaya ibang mga eskwelahan na hindi tagumpay dahil mayroong disunity, mayroong mga differences na hindi sinisettle. And of course, this is the penultimate that we should not wait to happen. Failure of the educational system. Let's not wait for it to happen. So, before all else fails and before everything comes to an end, we have to learn how to educate our learners on acceptance and respect for diversity. Paano ba? First tip is to listen to our fellow teachers, and to our students. Why? If we know their story, if we know what's in their mind, if we know the reasons why they do certain things, then we don't necessarily tolerate, but we understand. We do not make them escape responsibility, but we thresh out their issues together with them, of course, and we are able to help them to reform, to change. If a student or a teacher is not heard, then that person tends to be ostracized and to be tends to second tip is to research on different cultures. Why? Because if we read on other cultures, and especially if we travel, then we somehow have an understanding of other cultures. There's nothing wrong if we try different cuisines, like okay, wear different traditional costumes, traditional dresses, and clothes. There's nothing wrong if we try to learn a language as long as we have noble intentions. Okay, we have to learn about different cultures to understand, not to compare. And of course, we have to learn different cultures not to ridicule, but to celebrate. Excuse me. Okay, we read about people. Anong pinaka the best? Okay, we read stories, yung mga human interest stories, articles, and mga studies, yung mga research. Bakit? Doon ay mas maintindihan natin. Halimbawa, sa lengguwahe, bakit kaya may mga tao na hirap matuto ng English? Bakit ang iba ay hindi motivated na mag-aral? At least alam na natin and we understand. Okay, fourth, we use politically correct terms and labels. Fourth or fifth, rather. Okay. Yung mga politically correct terms and labels, halimbawa, ang taong halimbawa, instead of saying disabled people, we should say people with disabilities because we define them as persons, not as illnesses. Or for example, instead of autistic, we use person with autism or person with mental retardation. Hindi natin sinasabi mentally retarded, hindi na uso yun. At hindi rin natin ginagamit yung mga salitang mongoloid dahil wala na yon. Instead, we use people with Down syndrome. And halimbawa, instead of blacks or the N-word, we use African Americans because we're referring to their ethnicity, their ancestry. We're not referring to their color because color is just superficial. Instead of whites, Caucasians, or for example, non-Caucasians or non-whites, kasi may pagka-discriminating, may pagka-prejudice ng ibang mga taga-media, lalo na sa America. Instead of non-whites, gamitin natin colored people. Why? Or persons of color. Why? We have different skin tones and we have different ethnicities. Kaya mas maganda color. Another one way of practicing acceptance and respect for diversity is treating everyone equally. We do not exclude or give special treatment to others. We welcome them and we teach them with ways that we are accustomed to, and we can do it gradually so that it'll be much better. Okay, another one is to help the struggling and less capable, especially those who are academically deficient or challenged. Why? Because if we do not support them, we do not believe in them, then mas lalo sila magsa-struggle. Kaya marami yung mga lumalagapak na nagda-drop out na kasi feeling nila discriminated sila. At totoo yun. At saka yung mga ranking, yung practice, yung mga nasa dean's list, wala namang masama doon. Pero kapag kunyari, sinabi, ang mga lumagapak, in-announce mo pa ang grade, discrimination eh, walang respect for diversity. Yun. Another practice is to explain simply what one is as needed. Example, bakit ganun ang, halimbawa, yung bakit nakaturban siya? Bakit may dala siyang parang Chris, parang tabak? Bakit? Part ng custom, syempre, hindi siya yung magmamatadero or papatay ng tao, kundi ganun lang yun. Bakit nakaturban? Bakit? Meron nga iba sinasabi, nakaturban yung babaeng yan kasi si Valentina yan, yung pala hindi. Lalaki pala, mahaba lang buhok. Bakit may iba naka-hijab? Kasi custom nila yon. Halimbawa, yung mga Muslim na babae, lalo na sa Malaysia, sa Saudi Arabia, bakit naka-burqa? Hindi lang part ng culture nila, kundi for practical reasons din. Kasi mainit at saka para hindi sila maalikabukan at mahanginan. Another tip is to welcome everyone. especially mga applicants and students and teachers. Bakit? Basta na-meet na nila ang requirements, tanggapin natin kahit ibang kahit ibang lahi pa yan o kahit hindi ka pareho natin, basta may bubuga ba. Ayun, last two tips. To organize and attend events that celebrate diversity. Bakit? Kasi yung mga UN Day, yung mga ganong event ay nakakapagmulat sa atin. At saka may isang example na nagpa-practice ng diversity talaga. Singapore. Why? Kaya Tamil ka, kaya Chinese ka, kaya Indian ka, or Eurasian ka, pare-pareho kayo, or Malay. And working together as a team. Kaya we encourage yung mga different groups, hindi yung pare-pareho lang, para magkaroon ng respect for diversity. Ayun, marami na palang nanonood. Okay, what are the benefits that we will reap from practicing acceptance and respect for diversity? So, ito. First, increased enrollment. Mas maraming estudyante mag-aaral, mag-enroll. Siyempre, hindi natin habol lagi ang profit. Ang habol natin, marami tayong matouch. Yung matatouch natin yung hearts, matiteach yung minds, at magta-transform ng lives. Second, less incidences of discipline-related problems. Why? If we do good to someone, we model good behavior, then anong natututunan ng mga bata? The good behavior. If we practice acceptance, what do we expect of the students? To be accepting and open as well. If we do that because we are like that, then it's much better. We don't have to fake it. Okay, the third benefit is more encouragement from all. Why? Because we motivate one another and we are able to work together as a team. That's why we're all happy. We consider success, one success as the success of everyone. Okay, fourth is change among everyone, because those who need to be disciplined tend to change and tend to be better kung tayo mag-encourage ng change. At kung ang isang tao ay na dating ang tingin sa sarili ay iba, kung tatanggapin natin, kakaibiganin natin, tutulungan, ang taong yon ay tiyak na magtatagumpay. And let's not forget that. Another one is more academic achievement. It's not just about the mind. It's not about the race. It's about determination. Because no matter what race, what ethnicity you have or what past you have, as long as you're motivated, as long as you're ambitious and you do good, then you will be successful. Ito pa, more professional and moral development. Bakit? Kapag di tayo marunong tumanggap sa diversity, ang tendency nito ay nagkakaroon ng mga problems related to values. At may mga teacher din na nagiging demotivated, pati mga estudyante. Kaya kung tayo ay marunong tumanggap sa ating mga estudyante, sa kapwa teacher natin, then what do we expect? A very successful classroom. Less stress. Kahit uminom ka pa ng maraming Enervon dyan, kahit uminom ka ng Centrum o Royal Jelly, kung hindi naman maganda ang iyong environment sa school, walang pagtanggap sa diversity, mahihirapan ka rin. And of course, more chances of integration. Okay, inclusivity is the name of the game. No matter what IQ you have or kung anong ethnicity mo, kung anong iyong kung ano ang natamo mo, kung anong social class mo, dapat wala na yon. Kaya may mga prestigious schools na tumatanggap din ng mga scholars. Hindi lang yung mga scholar na dahil matatalino sila, kundi meron ding mga mahihira pero matatalino. And of course, more respect and more love. If we know how to accept others, then we learn how to accept ourselves. And if we are good to ourselves, then we tend to be good to other people, no matter what color. Okay, no matter what color they have or what creed they profess. Okay. Another one is a fairer educational system. Ang tendency kasi sa educational system, lalo na sa United States at sa atin, sa ibang mga bansa, walang mga wala masyadong mga programa para sa mga minority. Kulang pa rin ang ating ginagawa. And of course, ang pinakahuli na benefit, increased nation building. Why? Because we teach students and teachers how to accept minorities, how to respect them. And of course, sa pamamagitan ng pag-aaral, ng pagre-research, natututunan din natin ang tungkol sa iba't ibang mga kultura. At natutulungan din natin ang mga estudyante na nahihirapan simply because ibang culture natin. Like, there's an example, yung mother tongue based yung learning, yun ang isang magandang bagay na ginagawa ng DepEd. Okay. Eto. Meron akong tanong sa inyo. Mag-comment po kayo sa baba. Ano po ang ating mga best practice sa acceptance and respect for diversity? Huwag po kayo mahihiya. Please put your
Magandang
comments
engagement. Thank you for that, Teacher Jet. No, so go ahead, guys. So I will take care of reading out your comments as instructed by Teacher Jet.
Anong mga best practice? Share po tayo. Huwag tayong mahihiya. Para maraming matututo, maraming ma-inspire. Siya nga pala, sisingit lang ako, Sir Myron. Sa mga magre-request ng certificate, please give me a week para ma-accommodate kayo. And please, para may proof, i-screenshot ninyo na nanood kayo at nag-comment din kayo para mapakita nyo sa mga superiors nyo, mga co-teachers nyo. Naku, maniniwala yun. Huwag yung humingi lang ng certificate, di pala nanood.
Certificate lang ng habol, hindi yung content, Teacher Jet.
Ano naman, yun ang mahirap. Ayun.
By the way, while we're waiting for comments as instructed, according to Miss Elaine Taroma Alvarez, see others as yourself po. Yan.
That's right.
Si Miss Normita Miranda Morera, respect every individual differences.
That's right. But we have to practice that.
Si Miss Acel Celestio Poblete, yearly, ito to, meron na, may naunang best practice na, Teacher Jet. Yearly, I try to be a friend with my students outside our classroom. I let them. Anong masasabi niyo ron, Teacher Jet?
There's nothing wrong with that as long as we know the boundaries, the demarcation line, the parameters of dealing with our students outside. As long as there's no wicked intention, then that's okay.
Ito, according naman kay Miss Lady Nora, ito, napapansin ko si Miss Lady Nora mahiling mag-comment. So thank you for your engagement, Miss Lady Nora. Pati si si Miss Acel Poblete, yung nag-comment na ngayon ng kanyang personal best practice. Sabi niya, promote respect for cultural diversity in the classroom.
Wow, tama yan. What? Kailangan alamin natin yung mga culture nila. Halimbawa, tanungin natin, ano ang iyong ethnic group? Huwag naman tanungin, saan kang bundok nang galing? That's wrong. Ayun. At saka, tanungin natin, ano ang iyong mga kinakain? Huwag naman yung sabihin, yak, kadiri. Dapat yung, ano yung mga, paano nyo ginagawa to? Paano tayo nagsasalita ng ganito? Para syempre, interesado tayo. Yeah. Let's not fake interest. Let's make it real. Eto,
ang daming nagko-comment, kaya tatry po humabol sa mga sinasabi nila. Siguro pakita na lang natin lahat,
Sige.
Kasi dumadami na. Okay, sige. Try natin humabol.
Oh, sure.
Miss Joy Princena, developing a positive attitude and environment. Si Miss Johnny Aguirre,
That's
putting
right.
yourself on the shoes of others. Si Sir J. Palconit, love your pupils like your own kids. Okay, wait lang. Madami-dami na to. Yung iba
Oh,
buwabati
yes.
lang. Thanks, Sir Jet. Good evening. Thank you very much for the informative and insightful topics tonight, Nika Yu. According to Den Sabroso, ito pang
Hello.
sa napapansin ko mahilig mag-comment. Thank you for your engagement, Dens. Respect all humankind. Tapos
That's
si
right.
Angeline Tableo to, mahilig din mag-comment to. Salamat sa iyong cooperation. Use politically correct terms and labels. Si Glo
That's
Perez,
right.
sabi niya, be a good example to others, especially to your students.
Absolutely.
Araceli Donato, befriend your students. Although, syempre, Teacher Jet, kailangan may limitasyon din, ano? Minsan kasi pag
Huwag
binibefriend
naman
yung
yung
students,
befriend.
minsan naaabuso rin yung mga guro, no, na natitake for granted.
Naman. Totoo yun.
Okay, according to Christ
Yun.
Pineda, ang ganda ng pangalan niya, Christ. Thank you, sir, for
Christ.
sharing your knowledge.
Sure.
Miss
Maraming mga
Imelda
hugot.
de Villa, I befriend my students so that they feel at ease. Yung palang kanyang purpose for doing so. According kay Miss Marilyn Herrera, wag mong gawin sa kapwa mo ang ayaw mong gawin nila sa'yo. Golden rule, tama.
Absolutely. Yes. Do not
Always
do
wear
unto others.
humility. Connie Zuela. Ito. Hilig din to mag-comment sa iyo, Teacher Jet, si Ryan Gracia Yanut. In our first meeting, I give the do's and don'ts during class. This includes instilling respect to each other.
That's right.
Si Cassandra Joyce Contemplacion, we should always remember that we have individual differences. Respect begets respect. Thank you so much po.
That's right.
Okay.
You have to remember that.
Ang dami. Teacher Jet, hindi ko na nahabol. Nung in-scroll down ko, napakadaming pumasok na bagong comments anyways. You may go ahead at this point.
Sige lang, kahit umabot tayo alas 12, bakit hindi?
Sige. If that's the case, then sige, teka lang. Balikan ko lang para hindi naman magtampo yung iba na na-miss yung kanilang mga comments. Sige.
Ay, may hahabol pala ako. Tong kaibigan ko, si Ate Emeline Molina Cubing from Cebu. Treat them as God's creation too, and good evening. At saka ganun din si Miss Raquel Season, good evening. Ate Edna, and si Miss Joanne Takadena, kasama ko sa MFI. Hello, Sir Jet Ramos. Thank you very much, Miss Jo. At gandang gabi sa ating dalawa, sabi ni Kuya Art Sibal. Yun.
Ganito na lang, Teacher Jet, para mahabol natin yung mga bagong dumating. So, ipa-flash ko na lang sa ating live stream and then tingnan mo na lang na Teacher Jet, no? Okay, so let's start with this one. Yan, si Miss Perla Malit.
Sige.
And then ito, si Miss Babylin Formarejo. And then ito,
Hello.
Grace Combo. Ito, si Josel Turla.
Hello po, ma'am.
Yan.
Hello, Miss Turla.
Irene Ubaldo. Si Miss Araceli Donato. Si Aisel Pobleto, ayan. Mahilig siyang mag-engage.
Hello.
Salamat sa iyong involvement. And then si Marilyn De Vera.
Miss De Vera.
Si Miss Estela Marie Montes.
Hello,
Miss
Miss
Marian Abanes. Ito may comment si Miss Marian. We apologize for the net. Ayan, you talk like a robot daw. Something wrong with the audio. Naku, Miss Mary Ann, kasi naman talaga, okay naman ng mga speakers. Unfortunately, yung ating internet connection sa Pilipinas, kailangan talaga ng trabaho. Miss Judith Kumongos, ayan, as teacher, wala, may pinapangakong third telco hanggang ngayon hindi pa dumarating. Sabi, nandito na raw si Dito, pero wala pa. Okay, tapos, Miss Sir Polly pala, hindi pala Miss, sorry. Sir Polly Asilo, yan. Okay, yan. Marison Guevara, yan. Provide chance for everybody to share their opinion.
That's right, Miss Guevara. And in the trip.
Yan. Once again, si Ryan, ayan. Also, I tell them to love each other since they are all equal before God's eyes. Destiny Aragon, ayan. Respect every individual. Sige, balik tayo sa pag-flash na lang, okay? Elizabeth Sebastian, Josefina Ducos.
Yeah.
Yan, Komendador Rico. I think Rico Komendador Galvez ito. Binaliktad.
So,
Uso kasi ngayon yan. Yung mga pagbabaliktad ng mga pangalan.
at balik.
Ang nahihirapan po yung mga nag-acknowledge sa inyo sa Facebook. Okay, anyways. Yan, Marichu de Rosas. Yan.
Hello,
Naman si Leia Amor Antonio.
Hello, Miss Amor.
Yan. Mary Ann Lofranco.
Hello, Miss Nafranco. Good evening.
Yan. Madeline Kabatingan. Memia Contillo.
Wow.
Nagpa-fast reading na lang po kami ni Teacher Jet para lang lahat maipakita namin. Irene Relly, ayan.
Sige.
Don't you worry, mabilisan nakikita naman yan ng ating guest.
Oo naman.
Celine Razon, ayan. RJ Gonzalez, ayan ang kanyang best practice. So magkakahalo na to, Teacher Jet, greetings, comments, pati yung response sa iyong best practice question or request.
Ayos lang yun.
Connie Zuela, ayan. Blanca Ocampo. Imelda De Villa. Dami nating mga guro na alam nating pagod na, no? Pagod na sa araw na ito sa pagsisilbi ng kanilang mga mahal sa buhay at syempre patuloy na pagsasagawa ng kanilang trabaho, responsibilidad o obligasyon bilang guro. Pero gising pa sa oras na ito, Teacher Jet, talagang nanonood pa sa atin.
Ay nako. Ayun. Siguro sa puspuso nating pagbibigay ng mga reminders. Ayan. I treat them as their very own child. Si Miss Imelda De Villa. Tama yun. So, magpo-post pa pala ako ng isa pang question. Ito. So, pwede tayo mag-question and answer at mag-share ng realization. Same thing. Ask anything about our topic. No question is a stupid or silly question. As long as the question is relevant and I could answer it. Wag lang po sa math. At baka hindi ko masagot.
Although I can say na magaling din sa math ito si Teacher Jet.
Siguro sa business math lang.
Business
sa markup
math.
at saka sa
Yung arithmetic ka na.
Oo. Ay, yung mga algebra, Diyos ko, sasakit ang ulo ko nun.
Mga trigonometry, mga ganyan. Yung ating mga kaibigan math teachers ang makakatulong dyan sa aspetong yan.
Uy, si Miss Chin Rain, batiin natin. Ay, nangako manonood, ayot nanood. Mr. Vic Andrade.
Malakas ka sa kanya, Teacher Jet.
Then, nag-message lang siya sa akin, nagka-problema. Sinagot ko, ayokong pabayaan. Nangiyak-ngiyak nga eh. Ay, hindi ko nasasabihin yung problema. Ay, may sisingit pala ako, teacher, Coach Myron. Kahit yung mga hindi nakaabot sa live, basta't nakapanood, i-screenshot na lang na talaga nakapanood. Huwag naman yung screenshot mo, hindi mo pinanood yung buo. Pwede rin humabol for the free certificate. And I'll give the details to the groups na pinostan ko, yung mga CPD, yung mga DepEd.
Okay.
Opo, pero hanggang ano lang yun, hanggang ano lang po yun, hanggang Friday next week na lang para lahat naman ay makinabang din. At saka naka-save naman po siguro sa ating MSS, right? So wala namang problema siguro. Ayun. Ako, merong comments si Miss Angel. Sino pa?
Ayan, mabilis lang nating ipinapakita.
Sige. Ang dami.
Actually, napakaganda, napakalakas ng turnout itong ating free webinar. Salamat sa iyo, Teacher Jet, for making us organize and host this. And ito namang si MSS Business Solutions at ang ating Speakers, Trainers, and Consultants Bureau, si Thought Leaders Philippines ay palagi ang syempre sumusuporta sa iyo. Ito ay aming regalo sa mga hindi po nakakaalam. Ito po ay birthday event. Birthday special ni Teacher Jet Ramos na handog po para sa academe, sa inyong mga minamahal naming guro. At syempre pati na rin yung mga estudyante nyo. Kasi ang topic nga natin ay, if I can just read it again, educating our learners on acceptance and respect for diversity. So thank you, Teacher
Walang
Jet.
anuman yun. At
You have
nasisiyahan
the
akong
people's
gawin
support.
ito. Yeah, kaya nga pinagaganda ko eh. Siya nga pala nako.
Ayan,
Ito,
ayan. Teacher Jet, meron nang pumasok na hindi ko na talaga mahabol yung mga nagko-comment. So pasensya na po sa mga hindi na natin maipapakita or mga nalagpasan natin. So doon na lang tayo tumungo sa mga sasagot sa iyong katanungan, ano? Yung Q&A, ask anything about our topic tonight and I will answer them all. So nagsimula
Absolutely.
yan, natatandaan ko Teacher Jet 9:18 eh. So tingnan natin lahat ng mga pumasok na mensahe from 9:18 onwards. Ito,
Sige.
meron na pong pumasok. What is, Teacher Jet, the best advice you can impart to those parents who have special children but are still in denial and could not accept their child or children as they are?
Yon, based on experience din kasi may mga kaibigan akong may children with special needs. Of course, to consult a professional, a psychiatrist, a developmental pediatrician, psychometrician, at i-encourage din sila as our friends na tanggapin nila yung anak that even though there is something deficient, it doesn't hamper their children or their child from succeeding. It's just that they have extra needs, they have special needs. Parang ano yan, parang kapag hindi pa kaya maglakad dahil napilay, alam mo palakarin mo, di kailangan ng saklay yon. Ganun lang yon. Pero kaya in denial yung mga parents na yon dahil natatakot sila kung anong sasabihin ng mga tao. That's why.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Jet. Meron pang isa pang nagtanong, si Azenith
Sure.
Dableo, sir. Okay lang po ba
Hello.
na sa workplace may nakakainis? But dahil sa ayaw mo makahanap ng kaaway, dead ma lang ang peg?
Well, it's not right because it's a form of ostracizing a person, and personally I'm not like that. Kinakausap ko yung tao. Inaalam ko kung anong problema. And I encourage the person somehow to change. Because I believe that if you don't talk to a person, then paano mo maasahan na yung taong yun ay magiging open sa'yo, di ba? Ako, kahit nakakainis na estudyante, walang problema yun. Ako, kahit minsan na problema, kinakausap ko, oh, bakit ka nagkakaganyan? Kulang na lang kantahan ko, bakit ba ganyan? Ugali mo'y nakakasuka, ayoko na. Ganyan. Baka ako'y mahilo at magka-stroke pa. Siyempre, hindi ganun.
Songer pa. Yes, resource person. Thank you. Sir Jet, meron pang isa. Ito naman ay galing kay RJ Gonzalez. What are the best practices that you can give to us so that we can also apply to our students?
Okay, yung aking tinalakay, kung anong mga advice. Una, kilalanin yung mga students, hindi lang galing sa ibang tao, kundi galing din sa kanila. Pangalawa, observe them. And third, kapag kailangan nilang advice mo, kausapin mo sila. Huwag mo silang i-ignore. Bigyan sila ng chance. And of course, give them a chance to participate. Halimbawa, kung hindi makaintindi dahil mabilis ka magsalita, i-adjust mo. Hindi pwedeng, okay, answer this question. Di pareho kayo nahirapan. And of course, kung yung taong yon tutulong sa'yo, patulungin mo. Kung patulungin mo, isipin mo, anghel siya sa lupa. Kahit gaano kakulit pa yan, kahit gaano pa kapili yan or kapasaway, magbabago rin yun. Basta maniwala ka. At saka patawarin mo sila sa mga nagawa nila. Lahat naman tayo nagkakamali. And past is past, remember that. We do not define people by what they've done in the past, but by how they change in the present and what they can contribute in the future.
All right.
Yun lang.
Thank you, Teacher Jet. Sa mga nanonood po, no, once again, maraming salamat mula sa inyong lingkod, si Mentor Myron Sta ng MSS Business Solutions sa inyong panonood ngayon. Pero gusto lang namin sabihin ni Teacher Jet na kapit lang po kayo, wag po muna kayong aalis o kumbaga magla-log out sa Facebook o matutulog kasi in 6 minutes from now, ano, Teacher Jet, meron pong special guest kami ni Teacher Jet na makakasama natin in a bit. 6 minutes from now. Yes, 9:30. He is scheduled to join us. And tama ba, Teacher Jet? He's gonna weigh in on the same topic, and at the same time, we're also gonna talk about, umaga, parang by the time he joins in, dalawa na tayong host, ano?
Oo. Tama.
There. So, ang tabayanan niyo po yan. Kung nakita niyo
At
po
saka
yung aming
kami
poster
ito.
leading to this event, siya po yung aming makakasama mamaya-maya ng kaunti. Eto, may mga question pa tayo, Teacher Jet. Okay, balikan ko lang sa taas. Alright,
Tama.
ito. Yan. Ito, Teacher Jet, from Sherry Ann Cordero. How will you
Hello.
handle the situation if the parents of your pupils are in denial that there are something wrong with their behavior? Parang similar to sa question kanina, no?
Nako, we have to explain to them, and we have to assure the parents that we can solve the problem, although mahihirapan din tayo. Kaya as teachers, andun tayo para umagapay, hindi para mandamay. At nariyan din tayo para tumulong, hindi magsuplong. Andun tayo para maging savior, hindi traidor. Yun ang problema kasi sa atin. Ay, yung estudyante na yun, may problema. Wag na. Hindi tayo ganon. Iba tayo because marunong tayo tumanggap at tumulong. Merong iba sa atin na impatient, but eventually natutunan din natin maging patient sa estudyanteng yon. And yung parents, sinasabihan din natin na tama rin naman sila, na sila ay dapat na tumulong din. Hindi dapat yung inaasa lahat sa teacher. Ay, Diyos ko. Sandali lang. Ay, may nag-comment pala. Babasahin ko lang. Si Cedra Binalet, kaibigan ko, from Ifugao Province. Dr. Cedra Binalet. Amiga ko to. Sure, kuya. Ayun.
Ito pa isa pang question, Teacher Jet. Yeah, go ahead, Teacher Jet.
Excited na. Oo. Excited
Yeah,
na siya.
is it correct to treat children in a way they want to treat them rather than the way you wish them to be treated?
Ano po yun ulit? Paki-ulit lang po. Sinagot ko lang si...
Is it correct to treat children in a way they want to be treated? I think that's what she wants to say.
Yeah.
Rather than the way you wish them to be treated. So sino ba masusunod? Yung mga bata sa kung paano nila gustong matrato or yung paano sila dapat tratuhin? I think that's what she wants.
In my personal opinion, it should be the way you should treat them. Treat them as people who can think and who can learn, not as just barkada, because that would be a different thing altogether. Pero pwede rin ituring mo silang kaibigan, pero tratuhin mo rin sila bilang mga tao na may kakayahan. Huwag natin sila itrato na parang wala silang alam at walang pag-asa. Kaya yung mga terror teacher, mga, you remember 99% of this class. Hindi pwede yon. Kailangan do your thing, do what I ask of you, and you will pass. Pwede yun.
Sino ba yung terror na teacher na karakter doon sa kumaga kapanahon nila Tito Vic and Joey? School bukol ba yun? Kalimutan ko yung...
Ay, si Miss Tapia, si
Ayun.
Si Tagasa.
Ayun.
Ayun. Tapos eto pa, bago tayo mag-end, bago natin ipapasok ang special guest, pero ulitin natin to. I would like to thank the following for this very successful event: MSS Business Solutions for promoting this and for producing this, together with Thought Leaders Philippines, EIM Realty of our special guest, and yung aking mga kinabibilangan kung saan akong training manager, ang JFE Teacher Training Services and JFER Training Development Services. So for more information, please visit the Facebook page of MSS, Thought Leaders, EIM, and JFE. JFE is the sister company of JFER. So kung kailangan ninyo ng mga seminars, ng mga workshops, contact us. And open din kami mag-collaborate.
That's correct. And as the founder and the CEO of MSS Business Solutions, which Thought Leaders Philippines is a part of as a Speakers, Trainers, and Consultants Bureau arm, syempre, we are proud to have Teacher Jet Ramos as part of our speakers pool.
Ayun, salamat.
And ito pa pala, bago 1 minute before hopefully our special guest joins in, How can we help students that are PWDs to not be isolated? Ayan po, Teacher Jet.
Okay. How to help students not to be isolated. So, samahan din natin sila, i-include natin sa class and encourage natin yung ating mga students na sila ay sila ay mag na tumulong sa taong may special needs. At ikwento din natin na hindi sila kakaiba, hindi sila yung maraming hadlang. It's just a matter of opportunity and a matter of acceptance. Siya nga pala, may sisingit lang ako. Si Miss Cedra Binalet sa Best Practices, hahanapin ko nga yun, yung Best Practices ni Miss Cedra Binalet na aking kaibigan, ang aking amiga, ayun, link for na muna, ayun. Nasaan ka ba? Nasaan ka bang ano? Hanapin natin yung kay Miss Binalet. Oh, kasi kaibigan ko yun. Ayan. At saka, yun, sa mga may students with special needs, kahit hindi tayo teacher na specialize sa special education, sana ay huwag nating kalilimutan na marunong tayo humingi ng tulong, ng ayuda. Kaya dapat talagang marunong tayo maging collaborative. Ayun. Saka hindi hadlang ang condition ng isang student para maging matagumpay. It's something to be overcome. It's something to be faced, something to be dealt with. Kaya kailangan din nating pag-aralan din kung anong kanilang kondisyon. At yun ang pinakamahirap. Yun ang pinaka-challenging. But we can do it. We really can do it. Kaya, yun. Dali, naghahanap ako ng hinahanap ko pa si Miss Binalet. But, papasukin na natin si special guest natin. Maganda ang kwento nito sa buhay. Marami tayong matututunan. Because he deals with a lot of clients both locally and internationally, at marami tayong matututunan.
Sige, and
pasukin na natin si special guest.
Nandito na ba si guest natin? Sige,
ready siya.
Yeah, I'll introduce, i-share natin yung link.
Ayun. Yan na siya. Bruce Lee na siya kasi Enter the Dragon. Oo. Ayun. Naku. Ayun.
Okay.
Kaya
sige, habang hinihintay natin
yung
ating special guest, so I'll introduce him. Okay. So ang ating pong inaabangan na makasama tayo at this point ay ang owner and lead trainer ng EIM Realty. Isa siyang seasoned marketing and sales consultant. At itong ating guest resource person na pangalawa ay talagang talagang nagta-travel around the globe just to provide seminars and other learning and development opportunities related to the realty industry. So let's all welcome. Siguro okay lang din tawagin natin teacher, ano? Anyways, nagkakapareho-pareho lang yan. Mentor, coach, teacher, trainer. Pero dahil teacher-related ang topic natin at majority teacher ang ating audience, tawagin na rin nating teacher. Let's all welcome si Teacher Eric Manalo.
Hello, Teacher Eric.
Hello, good evening. Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat. Teacher, Mentor Myron and Teacher Jet. Happy birthday.
Teacher Eric.
Teacher Eric ako ngayon tonight.
Kumusta naman, Teacher Eric, ang iyong araw-araw?
Oh, yes. It's very, very busy, very productive days. Talagang, it's a new world, but we're moving forward, continuously moving forward.
That's great to hear. And kumusta ang real estate industry in the midst of this global situation?
Well, slowly but surely, tourism and real estate, it's unfolding. It's continuously unfolding, and we are
Okay.
expecting more growth coming up in the next few months.
Thank you for that. Teacher Eric, what can you say about Teacher Jet's presentation focusing on educating our learners on acceptance and respect for diversity? Napasadahan mo rin ba yung kanyang
oh,
presentation?
I was listening to all throughout the past few it's really so inspirational. It reminds me, even for me, no, para akong nagfa-flashback when I was during my younger years eh. Yung mga experiences na yun, nakaka-relate ako eh. May mga aha moments eh. Si teacher na shinare si Teacher Jet sa akin eh. And nakaka-relate ako doon sa mga topics na yun. That still happened before, during our time, Myron, and it's still happening now. Ganun pala yun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, talagang kumbaga mostly ng mga comments sa ating mga gurong nanonood at sumusuporta talagang eye-opener, wake-up call, realization daw talaga yung presentation ni Teacher Jet.
Yes, so many insights talaga. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to congratulate Teacher Jet for a wonderful and very insightful presentation. Marami kang na-inspire, including me.
Apo. Maraming salamat. Malay mo, magkariran tayo.
Teacher Eric, 122 viewers. Gising pa at nanonood. Ito nila talaga ito hanggang 10 p.m.
Yes, good evening sa lahat ng ating mga viewers. Thank you for listening to us, for giving us time.
Ayun. So, Teacher Jet, meron lang tayong ihahabol dito and let's also listen to Teacher Eric. Baka meron din siyang perspective regarding this. Ang sabi or ang katanungan ni Aniza Bentahil Bautista Amilasa na haba ang sabi niya, paano kaya natin sir matutulungan yung mga batang sinasabing kulang sa pansin pagdating sa klase, siya pa ang nagiging bully sa mga classmate niya?
Nako, talagang relate na relate ako dyan, Mentor Myron. Kasi to be honest, ngayon ko lang kikwento to sa buong career ko. Ngayon lang ako mag-reveal. Actually, nung bata ako, I was a very, very naughty kid when I was young. Talagang, you can say parang bully nung bata ako. And because of that behavior, looking back all those years, kasi I'm just sharing lang, kasi I'm not as expert as Jet in pagdating sa pag-handle na. But what I can only share is my personal experience nung bata ako, paano nag-transition ako for those years. Based sa topic niya, I was really basically a bad boy. Yung bata ako, I was bullying my classmate, and nakakapagtaka dun, Myron, there were even moments na nag-i-enjoy ako sa ginagawa ko. I was, kasi naughty ka natutuwa ka sa ginagawa mo. Ganun pala ang isang naughty na bata. Pag talagang gusto, hindi mo pwedeng pigilan kahit sinasabihan ng parents, which is my mom, was already doing it almost every day. Pinapagalitan ako. And then my tita was telling me, palagi pinapalo mo si Eric. Baka balang araw maging successful yung batang yan. And then parang my mom continuously believed in me. So kahit makulit ako nung stage ng life ko, that was during my stage in my life na napakakulit na bata ako, she continued to believe that I can be good. So nag-improve ang aking attitude because my parents believed in me na there was good in me. Kaya eventually pumasok sa subconscious mind ko hanggang sa naging I can be a good boy. even if I was a bully to my classmate.
So yan ang patunay talaga na hindi rin pwedeng kumbaga labelan na natin na mischievous ka ng isang batang bully. Kasi bata pa yan, pwede pa yang makorek, pwede pa yang magbago, marami pa yang taong ibubuhay sa planeta, kaya give him or her a chance, di ba?
Right. Oo. Kasi na-realize ko rin kasi din, Myron and Teacher Jet, based on childhood, kasi the first 6 or 5, between 6 years old, 7 and 8 years old, those were the days. That is the most crucial part of a child yung time na yun nare-recall ko kasi wala nagme-mentor sa akin. Palagi na sinasabing ganon, you're bad, you're pilyo, you're bad boy. Plus ayan pa yung mga classmates, binubully rin ako. The reason why I was developing to be a bully, Myron, because I was being bullied. Kaya nadidevelop unconsciously, nadidevelop sa mind ko yung to retaliate, to fight back. So hanggang nagkakaroon ako ng confusion. Yung pala, then after a few years ko na-realize sa psychology na the first 6, 7 years old ng bata, yung palang pinaka-critical kasi that's the time na nagkakaroon ng self-esteem ang bata. Self-esteem. The moment, that's the make or break moment ng isang bata. Kaya mapapansin mo pag bata, bibong-bibo, between 5 to 6, bibong-bibo, no? Then pagdating ng 7, 8, 9, parang nagda-die down na yung kanyang pagkabibo. Yung yung excitement niya nagbabago na, nagiging low self-esteem. Bakit? Hindi na nakikita ng parent siguro sa school. When I go to school, I meet my classmates. Minsan vibes kami ng classmate ko, minsan nag-aaway kami. So it's a love and hate relationship minsan sa school every kid experiences bullying including myself So it's how you handle the situation Buti nga ngayon marami ng mga mentor, kanya si Teacher Jet, mas aware na ngayon. But during our days, di ba? Pag naalaman ng parents mo naging makulit ka, palo, no? Palo. Chinelas, sinturon. Ako, ginagamit sa akin, mayroon batyana
Batya.
Batya. Kasi,
corporal talaga kung corporal.
Oo. Then as
Meron
years
pa nga
goes by,
kadena
as I go, alam ko hindi na ginagawa ngayon yan But then na-realize ko pala, what I can share siguro sa mga listeners natin is very important pala sa isang bata ay matuturuan about leadership. Leadership. Kasi akala natin 'di ba leadership pag adult na, they're working, you're teaching them about leadership. You can teach this pala as early as bata pa lang, between 9 to years old and above. Kasi magaganda yung mga sinabi ni Jet kanina The reason why kung bakit medyo affected ang kanilang motivation is because sometimes they lack the self-esteem na pag-believe sa sarili nila. They don't have personal leadership, the kids. So I remember my mentor, Stephen Covey, the author of the 7 Habits, he told me one time in his seminar, see children as leaders, sabi niya sa akin. So tumanim sa, see children as leaders. Don't judge them from their behavior, but develop them, make them believe that they can be a leader one day. Yun lang isa sa mga gusto ko i-share sa ating mga audience ngayon.
Thank you, Teacher Eric. May isa pang katanungan dito siguro this time. Let's have Teacher Jet answer this. Sabi niya, si Miss Evangeline Supatan, paano makuha ang atensyon sa mga bata na sobrang tahimik sa loob ng klase pero mga makukulit naman paglabas ng classroom?
Ayun. Ito ang ginagawa ko hanggang ngayon. Hulihin mo sa labas. Hulihin mo sa labas. At saka, wag naman yung huhulihin para kang pulis. Yung salubungin mo lang, wag mong bulabugin na. Yung kausapin mo lang, tapos engage mo sila sa usapan, tapos mag-uusap kayo tungkol sa bakit tahimik ka sa klase. Meron nga ako naging estudyante, bakit ang tahimik mo sa klase ko? Kasi po sir, sumagot ka, kasi po sir, masakit yung braces ko. Ay sus.
Braces lang pala.
Masakit yung braces. Hindi, at saka may mga bata na tahimik lang sa klase kasi takot sila na ma-brand na makulit at gano'n. Yung meron din mga hidden problems din, tahimik sa klase, ayaw lang malaman ng mga kaklase na may dinadala palang problema. So maganda rin na kausapin one-on-one. Kapag lumala na, i-refer sa guidance counselor, huwag naman i-refer sa discipline officer, sa guidance counselor na para magtulungan naman, para mas objective naman ang view at saka mas professional. Hindi naman tayo registered na guidance counselors, kaya maganda rin na i-refer natin sa professional. Huwag naman agad sa principal at meron niyang the dark side. Parang di na naman Darth Vader.
Parang pinapadiretso ka agad sa principal parang na kagad ganung level ng intervention kagad
May kwento ako. Nung Yossi days pa, may isa akong estudyante na huli. Ang kulit-kulit. Pinapunta ko, sabi ko, halika dito. Bakit po? Hindi mo pabayad yung Yossi mo? Hindi pa. Binayaran ko. Yung pala, kaya nangungulit yan kasi wala palang pamasahe. Magkano kailangan mo? 20 pesos. At 20 pesos, mura lang ang jeep. Hindi ho magbabasa ko at inarte ka pa. Tapos sabi niya, dagdagan mo na lang ng 30 na lang, sige. O sige, may pan-tricycle ka pa. Pag swerte ka, pwede ka bumili ng pandesal sa kanto. Kung hindi, pwede ka mag-candy, ayun. Kaya pala kulit siya. At kinausap ko rin, sabi ko, alam mo, dapat pag mga ganitong oras, umuwi ka na. Dapat umuwi ka na.
Kaya maganda din talaga, Teacher Jet, na to give every child or student the benefit of the doubt na merong root cause yan at kailangang alamin mo kung ano yung root cause before you judge the student or turn to any.
Ginawa ka, no? Yung
Tama
pala,
yan.
kaya ayaw pa niyang umuwi kasi mabagsik yung lola niya, sabi ko. Ay baka nangungulit ka, hindi, mabagsik talaga yun, sabi ko. Alam mo anak, pakisamahan mo na lang ha. Matanda na yun, pagbigyan mo na yun. At saka, she's thinking about your welfare, so you're lucky you have a grandmother. I don't have a grandmother anymore, so consider yourself luckier.
That's right. Kaya importante talaga Teacher Jet and Teacher Eric, yung communication, importante.
Yeah.
Kasi unless we speak with the student and ask him or her deeply, hindi natin malalaman ang totoong sanhi talaga kung bakit ganun ang behavior ng tao, di ba?
Ako, sharing lang from my experience lang. Nagkakaroon kasi ng tinatawag na personality split ang bata indirectly. Iba yung kinikilo sa bahay kasi he has to behave, ayan ang parents, ayan strict. Pagdating sa school, dun lumalabas ang kanyang minsan kapilyuhan kasi may konting freedom siya to do things.
Pent up emotions, no?
Yes. Kasi personal experience yon. Iba na ang kinikilos ko sa bahay. Iba naman ako pagdating sa mga classmate ko. Minsan mas close, nag-aaway kami ng kakapatid ko, minsan away ng bata, pero pagdating sa classmate ko, para kaming mga brothers. Those personality split eh.
Correct. Ito magandang tanungin natin si Teacher Eric regarding this because we specialize in adult learning principles. Ito galing ito kay Miss Marichu De Rosas, pakita natin ha. Yan, medyo mahaba-haba yan. Paano mo ma-encourage ang 46 years old na student in ALS, itong alternative learning system, correct me if I'm wrong, Teacher Jet, no? Na makisali sa talakayan, makisama sa mga group activities, na kung tutuusin, ang kanyang kaalaman ay kapantay lamang sa kanyang mga kaklase na may edad na 18 to 30. Lagi niyang sinasabi sa guro niya na ipaubaya na lang sa mga kaklase niya ang mga task na binibigay ko. What can you say, Teacher Eric, regarding this?
Yeah, kasi I remember yung natutunan ko sa psychology about paradigm. It's called paradigm. The concept of a paradigm. Paradigm is basically the way you view things that will affect the behavior of the person. Kung naniniwala ka sa isang bata, whether 8 years old, 18, or 46 years old yan, whatever you believe, yung labeling, di ba? Whatever story that you input to that person is basically become their belief system. Nagiging prinsipyo nila, paniniwala nila. Tingnan mo, kaya nga nagkakaroon ng, di ba, ang student, kapag binigyan mo ng konting, mind setting, nagbabago and they become a belief system that to the point na they will even fight to defend that. For example, in high school, nagkaroon kami ng leadership, CAT. Nag-CAT officer ako noon So that was my first experience. So marami kami mga paghihirap na ginawa. Pero never squeal ganun ang mga ang credo namin. So walang nag-give up sa amin kasi mapapahiya kami. So pinapagwit ka. But that experience gave me some kind of leadership kasi naging matibay, naging strong ka kahit papaano. Meron kang pinindigan. So it's basically the same then with that person. So it depends on what you believe on this person that would influence them to change. Because you cannot force them to change.
Thank you. Teacher Eric, how about Teacher Jet? May additional points ba regarding it?
Yung tungkol dun sa
46 years old na nasa ALS program, pero hindi naman siya cooperative.
Ay hindi, kausapin at saka minsan samahan mo sa pagkain. Kausapin mo. Ako nga dati yung mga kasama ko, yung mga estudyante ko, nako, nagsisigarilyo pa nga ako ngayon. Halika dito. Sabay sindi ng sigarilyo. Dati yon. Ano nangyari sa'yo? Bakit di ka sumipot? Ayaw mo sa amin? Hindi. Yung pala may family problem. Oo, may family problem siya. Tapos meron din ako, student. Mas matanda pa sa akin, pero hindi. Matanda, pero hindi mas matanda sa akin. Sabi niya, nahihiya po ako, sir. Bakit? Kasi ako pinakamatanda rito. Ilang taon ka na? 33 po. Alam mo ilang taon ako? Sabi niya, hindi po sir, baka mas bata kayo sa akin. Hindi, 35 na ako. Hala, sige, sumama ka na sa akin. Nahiya ka pa. At saka hindi ka pagtatawan na nun, tawag nga sa'yo, kuya eh. Ayun, pumapasok na siya. Pumapasok na siya. Tapos, matataas pa grades nila sa akin kasi, kasi I give everybody chances eh. Yeah, and I tell them, no matter what your age is, no matter what your age is, you're all welcome here. And please don't give me any problems now. Why? Nung time na yun, sabi ko, I'm 55. Yung pala, 35 lang ako. Inanong ko lang, ginawa ko na nakatatawanan para hindi naman sila maluwa. Para hindi naman sila ma-discourage. Ayun, sabi ko, meron pa nga ako naging 2 na estudyante, mas matatanda pa sa akin. Ang tawag ko pa dyan, mga kuya, mga ate, para welcome sila. And sabi ko sa isang estudyante, Ate Mel, halika rito. Bakit po, sir? Bagsak ba ako? Hindi. Mag-usap tayo. Tinanong ko, hindi ba mahirap pag magulang? Wala. Inano ko lang. Hinold up ko lang para tanungin, how is it to raise children? Kasi that time wanted to get married na eh. Pero ngayon mas strong ang feeling. Kaya syempre tanong-tanong at saka maganda rin na you learn from your older students. You learn about life, you learn about wisdom. Kasi hindi lang naman tayo source of knowledge. Sila rin source of knowledge. It's just all about how to tweak it. How to encourage them to speak up. Ayun.
Tama. And if I may add in, Jet, no, di ba Myron, remember pag when we do seminars sa mga corporate, sa adult learning, parang pareho lang eh. You were able to influence people to change sa corporate world eh. Ganon din ang mga bata. Whatever you believe in them, you change their behavior eh. Ang difference lang ng adult at ng bata, madali mong baguhin ng bata compared sa adults.
Yes, mas flexible pa. Sabi nga nila,
ako may kukwento ko sa iyo.
Meron yung teach old dog two tricks daw eh.
Yeah, totoo yun.
Ay, hindi totoo yun. Ay, may kukwento pala ako sa inyo. O sige. Dati ayoko sa mas batang teacher. Pero nung kailangan ko maging techie, sabi ko, "Sir, bakit po sir? Sir, turuan mo ko dito." Bakit po? Hindi ako marunong nito, matanda na ako eh. Kailangan ko matutunan yun. Yung Office 365, walang kalam-alam dun. Mas bata yung nagturo sa akin. Kaya simula nun, natuto na akong humingi ng tulong, magpaturo kahit sa mas bata sa akin. Meron pa nga nagsabi, "Sir, halata na edad nyo. Sige, turuan ko na kayo." Sige, ikaw binubuko mo edad ko. Ayun, magkaibigan na kami. Siya nga pala, he's one of those na nanonood ngayon.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank
you for watching.
Sa teacher ni Teacher Jet na nagturo sa kanya about Office 365.
Si Joey Orating po yun, yung manager ng Management Information System sa MFI. Pakabait na tao. Sabi ko, "Sir Joey, turuan mo pa ako." Bakit? Bakit, sir? Tanda na ako. Diyos ko, baka mamaya kung ano mapuntahan ko.
At saka,
ayun,
if you
tama
remember...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
tama si Coach Eric.
Yeah. If you remember, during your college days, remember, kung na-experience itong na-experience ko kapag pumapasok ko sa classroom, pag magaling yung teacher magturo, ang taas ng grades ko. Pag boring magturo, ang baba ng grades ko. That's me, Kasi napansin ko, tinignan ko nasa turo din ng teacher kaya it's a combination of teacher's effort din yung pag magaling ang delivery ng teacher talagang wow, ang grades ko 90 pero pag yung teacher boring magsalita, class, open your page to Diyos ko po, ang grades ko pasang-awa. Anyway, that was from a student's point of view. Ewan ko kung naka-experience kayo ng ganun.
Nako, kahit ako rin naka-experience nun.
Diba? Oo. Kaya minsan nagiging
Yeah.
hate mo yung subject eh. Nahi-hate tuloy. Pero subukan mo pag yung bata gustong-gusto yung subject, ang taas ng grades.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Kaya naman talagang kapag ang mga teacher sa classroom ay ang mga katulad ni Teacher Jet Ramos at Teacher Eric Manalo, talaga namang for sure magaling. Hindi lang sa taas ng grade, magaling sa application ang mga estudyante. Eto, meron akong, I came across another comment. Ang maganda ring itanong to sa inyo, Teacher Eric and Teacher Jet, kasi iba yung perspective naman niya. Ang tanong naman niya is, maganda kausapin din yung mga magulang, tama siya, no? Ano daw ang tip nyo or maipapayo nyo sa mga magulang naman na sumusuko na sa kanilang mga anak? Ayan.
Suggestion ko lang, huwag silang susuko kahit anong mangyari. Oo, kasi yung mother ko na lang halos araw-araw umiiyak sa akin Sa tindi ng, I was really a bad boy nung bata ko. Talagang hindi ko makontrol ang emotions ko. That was a stage na you have so much energy, Myron, Jet, na hindi ko ma-explain Para okay naman ang grades ko, pero ang behavior ko was so wild. Put it in a word I was poking my classmate, tinutokso ko sila. I was part of that world So sabi ko, paano ko na-control yun? Kasi nga, going back, hindi sumuko yung parents sa akin. Mahalagang bagay yung mga parents. Huwag kayong susuko kahit anong kulit niyan. Then, wala lang akong survey, Myron Jet. Wala lang akong survey. Pero ito ang sa tingin ko. Bakit yung mga batang pilyo, yung makukulit, pagdating ng real world, ang daming successful. Tingnan mo, ang dami ko na napanood that research from Steve Jobs to ang dami. Bakit mas highly successful pa sila kaysa doon sa mga behave? Kasi nga, dahil yung mindset nila, matigas ang ulo, makulit, kaya pagdating ng pagsubok, di ba, sa tunay na in the real world, when they grow up, kaya nilang harapin yung mga pagsubok kasi matibay ang kanilang, I don't know, but ang nila meron silang fire to face the, parang ganun a psychological point of view. Kesa yung mga, okay, tinatanggap lang, di ba, parang okay.
I agree with that for sure, Teacher Eric and Teacher Jet, kasi usually sa mga reunion, hindi ko nasasabihin personal experience ko kasi naikukwento rin ng iba, karanasan din ng iba. Sa mga reunion, yung mga matatalino, no offense guys, by the way, before I say this, I wanna share na mapanegosyante ka man o empleyado, wala pong problema kung anong ruta mo. Mahalaga ikaw ay happy, satisfied, and contented sa iyong ginagawa. Okay? Gusto muna magkaroon ng disclaimer kasi baka ma-misinterpret na I'm looking down on employment. Parang lang to, napansin ko lang na yung mga matatalino noong, let's say, elementary high school, sila daw yung mga nasa employment world. Tapos kung sino pa yung mga row 4, yung mga row 4, yung mga mabababa grade, yung mga laging na susumbong sa guidance counselor, sila yung mga mapepera, mayayaman, millionaire. So kaya tama yan, I agree with what you said, Teacher Eric
Yeah. I'm just speaking from experience lang. Kasi laman ako ng principal's office halos
So see, we are in front of and speaking to a working example himself, right?
Kaya itong topic ni Teacher Jet talagang special sa akin kasi nagpa-flashback lahat
That's right.
Oh.
By the way, guys, we're now down to the last 2 minutes of our 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. na kwentuhan about our topic. Once again, napakagandang topic, no? Bago po tayo mag-wrap up, pasalamatan po natin ang more than 100, almost 200 na simultaneous viewers ng ating free webinar. Salamat po sa inyong mga suporta at kayo'y gising pa rin at nanonood at natututo from Teacher Eric and Teacher Jet. And syempre, pasalamatan natin si Teacher Jet kasi ito'y dapat siya ang reregaluhan natin. No?
Yes.
Pero siya ang nagregalo sa mga manonood natin sa araw na ito. Right? Isinama pa niya ang bigatin na si Teacher Eric. No? So talagang,
it's an honor.
Effect
Yeah.
And like what I said, it's a pleasure and honor din naman sa Thought Leaders Philippines at sa MSS Business Solutions to organize and co-promote this. So guys, once again, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Abangan nyo lang po, hindi pa po tapos ang paghahandog natin ng mga free webinars para tayo ay nananatiling produktibo despite this global situation. So bago tayo magtapos, Teacher Eric, let's start with Teacher Eric muna. No? Meron ka bang gustong
First.
i-promote na upcoming events? Or if people would like to engage your professional services in your areas of expertise, how can they contact you? Where do they find you online and offline? Go ahead, Teacher Eric.
Yes, I like to share with you some of my free articles. All lahat yan for free. At my website, www.ericmanalo.com, and I'll be happy to share more insights sa inyo, both in personal and in business and life. Thank you.
Love you.
Yan po ha, ihanap lang po, just look up Mr. Eric Manalo online on Facebook, on LinkedIn, anywhere else, okay? And just get in touch with him if you would like to engage his expertise in the real estate and tourism industries. And of course, the birthday boy,
Birthday boy.
the first
Hello.
guest resource person for tonight. Maraming salamat sa iyong educating our learners on acceptance and respect for diversity. So if they would like to invite you as a speaker, trainer, or consultant, paano niya kayo makakontakt at saan ka makikita online?
Ayun, online. Ang aking Facebook ay Jet Ramos at ang page ng aming JFE Teacher Training Services and JFE Training and Development ay JFE Teacher Training Services. Andun po lahat ng mga seminar namin at magkakaroon din po pala kami ng mga online seminar in the near future, very soon. Kaya pakaabangan nyo po yun. And if you want to get me as a speaker, as a consultant, or a trainer, please contact me at via Messenger po, Jet Ramos. I'm always online, kaya masasagot ko po kayo. Even though na hindi agad-agad kasi may mga ginagawa pa.
There you have it. Yes, go ahead, Teacher Jet.
May aking maging column sa The Ilocos Sentinel. The Ilocos Sentinel, yun yung newspaper na based sa Ilocos. Pero ang circulation na ay ng Ilocos region, kundi whole Philippines and whole world kasi may website. Magkakaroon din ako ng column. It will be released on Monday. And ang title ng column ko ay The Ilocano Educator. And my first article for that column is based on my lecture and it's based on my lecture for today. Okay, for tonight rather. And gusto ko rin palang i-plug ang magiging web show ko. Okay, it will be instead of Friday at 8 p.m., Saturday at 8 p.m. Ang magiging title nito ay Slice of Life, Life Lessons to Inspire You. And soon i-announce ko po ang ating magiging first guest instead of Friday, Saturday para mas engaging po. And soon ay magpapatayo ako nung Facebook page para doon na tayo magla-live. And nagana pa ng first guest, hindi naman limited sa teachers, sa trainers, kundi sino man na nakaka-inspire. At saka pakaabangan niyo po yan. And of course, I want to thank all of you for attending. And mag-announce po pala ako. Mag-comment po kayo ng yes or no. Gusto niyo bang magkaroon ng rerun next week, Friday, same time?
Definitely, puro yes yan.
Rerun. Sagot na po, yes or no. Kung yes, sabihin nyo, yes, we want to have a rerun. Para syempre sa ibang hindi nakapanood, malay nyo, hindi nakapanood, namatay ang internet. Ayan.
And Teacher Jet, sabihin natin sa kanila na ito pong live stream natin na ito, kahit matapos po ito, permanente na po itong nakapost sa MSS Business Solutions Facebook page. Pwede nyo itong balik-balikan at panoorin mula umpisa hanggang huli. Yan, napupuno na tayo ng yes.
Opo. At saka ayun, makakaroon tayo ng rerun next week, Friday. Kaya tamang-tama ito. And by the way, tandaan po natin ito, if we learn how to accept other people, then we eventually learn how to accept ourselves and our deficiencies. So I'd like to thank all of you very much and happy 122nd Independence Day. I love you all and
happy
God
Independence
bless
Day.
you. Good night.
Yeah, thank you, Teacher Jet.
Thank
Teacher
you.
Eric. Hoping to see you guys again really soon. Okay,
Thank
bye.
you, Jet. Happy birthday.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you very much. Ayun, dito ang pamangkin ko. Ayun, sana po, wag po natin kalimutang i-share ito sa lahat ng mga tao para tayo ay makapropagate ng knowledge. So this is once again your Coach Jet Ramos bidding you good night and see you all again soon. At mag-ingat.
Thank you. Bye. Alright. So, ayan. Teka, alisin muna natin ito. Hindi na natin maalis. Natambak na tayo. Napaka-successful nitong ating free webinar. Muli, salamat kay Teacher Jet Ramos sa pag-iisip nitong ideya na ito. At of course, it was a pleasure and an honor for my company and our Speakers Bureau, Thought Leaders Philippines, to organize this and be the host for this. Kasi talaga namang hindi kami nagsisi na i-produce ito or co-produce at i-co-organize ito kasi maraming sumuporta. So maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. So paano? Kailangan na magpahinga at this point. Nagpapahinga din po ang mga speakers, trainers, teachers, consultants. Kaya salamat po rin sa inyong suporta. Abangan nyo na lang po ang susunod na mga updates o schedules ng ating mga free webinars. Okay, regarding the certificate, just get in touch lang po with Teacher Jet Ramos because he's gonna take care of those. Okay, so for now, once again, happy Independence Day to us all. So it's time to go night, sleep. Bye.